the suppression of the use of marijuana and of the forces lurking behind it are the most important jobs this department is now engaged in. In 1930, the records on marijuana in the Washington office of the Narcotics Division scarcely filled a small folder like this. Today, they fill cabinets.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Coloradians and everyone that's smart enough to listen from the outside.
One of the most amazing plants we've ever discovered.
The pot party, the trippers, the grasshoppers, the hip ones, all gathered in secrecy and flying high as a kite.
I got weed pots.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another week of Storm Appetit with your host. As always, it's me, Kip, and to my left I got CB. CB, how are you today, my friend?
I'm doing great. It's one of those days where we get, like, this time of year, you know, where it's just bright and sunny and doesn't feel like winter's coming. So it's fucking fantastic. I had a great weekend.
Dude, yeah, Colorado is popping right now. The whole last 7 or 8 days, the leaves are changing. The weather, yeah, it's a little bit of a bitch for those that are leaving in the morning because it's brisk. But it's that, you know, wear athleisure, wear your hoodie, you know, and then shorts, and then tennis shoes. You know, that's like, but we always complain that we don't get a long enough spring or a long enough fall. We're looking at a sturdy 5-6 day weeks of it in Denver, and I fucking love it.
I do too.
Yeah. Well, we have a huge slate of episodes this week. We're going to do a little bit of a recap, so to speak, for this first 20 or so minutes. And then after that, we're diving straight into guest episodes for the rest of the week. So this may be the last time you hear both Chris and I on the dial until next Monday night when we'll be back on it. We'll be back in cannabis and culinary zones next week, but all of our episodes this week will be Vegas, MJBizCon, bullshit like that. The fun stuff we did, all of those, that nature. But before we get started, I want to give a quick shout out. This is a little more personal shout out, and you'll hear it on all of our interviews. Pardon the background noise because we were in a convention center working out of the press room, and that's thanks to our friends over at Grasslands. You know, Ricardo, Maddie, Sean, Lindsay, Milana, Andre, the whole fucking team over there, they're exceptionally great. I love them dearly, and they were fantastic hosts. But it wouldn't have been possible the whole last week, but this podcast in general, without our friends over at Seed Smith. Mike, Robbie, Sean, Brooks, Carly. I know I'm forgetting somebody, but I can't remember who. Shit. That family is fantastic. You know, they're obviously putting out great product. That's why we like to work with them. But they're also going out there and spreading the good word. And so when I ran into them and was hanging out with them in Vegas, I mean, it's hilarious. Robbie is easily my favorite person that I've ever met in this industry that we didn't have like previous relationships with. He's just fucking great. And so they not only have a great product, but they have a great team. And so I'm glad that we work with those folks, and I'm thankful for them for, you know, showing me the ropes of Vegas, but also putting up with my nonsense for 2 days down there of just gallivanting around, eating, drinking, working, air quotes. But all of that's possible because of the dank weed they have here in Colorado. I think everybody that got to try the dart pen that we were talking about, they fucking loved it. They're like, the weight's there, it strokes, it's the proper pull amount. But at the same time, they're not just a one-trick pony. It's not just a dart cart. If you're a heavy hitter, you like that dab, that wax game, they've got you covered over there at both of their locations, but also their product line, which you can find across the Front Range and in the mountains. So just go over to seedandsmith.com. You can find out all the products that they have to offer. Obviously, we love to fellatio the dart pen because that's kind of our jam.
But I burned a joint down from Seed and Smith this weekend.
And how'd it taste?
Mighty fine.
Yeah, there's no seeds and stems in theirs. They've won awards for their pre-rolls in the past, Chris. Last time when we were all able to do those fun marijuana-themed, you know, contests, they took home some prize, you know, some hardware for their pre-rolls. So I definitely recommend those as well. Did you take the whole thing to the Dome?
I stubbed it out a little bit. I mean, it's tough to take a whole joint to the Dome these days.
I mean, as casual smokers such as we are, and if you're by yourself, you know, just going solo on a heavy hitter, I mean, it'll send you to the moon. So
yeah, it was one you started in the morning, and then right around like kickoff of college football game day,
You're like, let's respark that, Jay.
Yeah, and it hit. I just wish I could have seen Glauber in Vegas.
Dude, Glauber and Mike. Oh, and Seth. For those that remember the intern, he's now the brand ambassador, but they are in their prime. They're in their element out there. But Vegas is a fucking vibe all for MJBizCon too. You know, a lot of our friends, shout out to Tim Matheson, who was our recent guest from MedPharm. The non-nerd, you remember him?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so Tim was there with Albie Gutierrez, former guest of the pod, and the MedPharm family were there. They were a fucking blast. I love them. They're a hoot. Was able to gallivant with them. And then, you know the crew from Eureka Vapor, not maybe personally, but you know the product line?
Yeah, was that Eureka Vapor? Oh, okay. I know what you're talking
they
about.
Have the pre-rolls that come individually packaged with
a
bunch of different flavors. And then they have the terp cartridges. Those guys were Dom and Tom. Those are their names. The New York guys, they're fucking hoot and holler. But you get to meet a lot of people. You know, that's the cool thing about it. You know, these people are, I kind of gave the explanation to Morgan, but it's every time you ask a guest or ask someone, you know, how they're doing, they were just fucking happy to be there. And that's kind of how they go through life. It's because they don't see their work as like a work. It's kind of like a passion project that they get paid for. And so, you know that corny saying, you never have to work a day in your life?
Yeah.
They're fucking living it. Everybody there believes in the mission statement of weed. You know, we've talked like with Mark Carter and on her podcast how they were cannabis 1A as their like vice and things of that nature. Mm-hmm. All these people, and it's not just vices, they're every aspect of their industry, of their lifestyle is cannabis. And so when you see them in their element, everyone's just happier than a pig in fucking shit. Like they're just all rolling around having a blast.
So what was because obviously I didn't go with you, what was what's the overall theme of this? Is it just like, let's see what's coming in the business?
Yeah, like there was no need for us to
like a trade show or something?
Yeah, it was just a basic trade show. Like we had some guests that I did like 30-minute segments with and jazz like that. But yeah, it's just a trade show. It's like mega trimmers and like the rocker 420.
Speaking of that,
which does pre-rolls and stuff.
Okay, yeah, I saw some machine. I think you flexed on the Instagram account, and it was like did it roll like just mass amounts of joints?
Yeah. That's the rocker or the roller 420. And so that's great. You know, they infuse the corny numbers like 40, 420, and 69. Yeah, they're everywhere. But yeah, that bitch just shook like 400 pre-rolls and you could just have all your weed with sift in there. So it like grinds once. And these are like high compressed situations. Like there's a switch and it sounds like you're turning on like industrial pumps. Like there's some wild shit out there, which doesn't pertain to us in the fucking slightest.
Right. But it's still cool. Because I was trying to wonder who rolls all the pre-rolls that these weed companies put out.
People don't. What the fuck, Chris? Really? You thought people were just hand rolling 6,000 J's?
No, obviously not. But I've walked into some places where I've seen like people look like they were rolling joints. I don't know if they were personal or what, but I mean.
I feel like most of the times if you see them, those are people who are probably doing packaging. They're like throwing labels on them. Because I don't think, I may be wrong. You know, there are a lot of mom and pop growers and shops and things of that nature where they may not have the tools and resources available. But I don't think anybody has a product line where they're actually hand rolling pre-rolls.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about it. So there's 90 level 0, which is like the first aisle, all the way to fucking 9,000 levels. So there's like 90 aisles of just stuff, and they're all segmented off based off of your segment. It's just your basic trade show. But what the best part is that after the trade show is when the debauchery and fantastic shit happens. Because like you have like Mike Tyson, you know, that's a representative, and Ricky Williams, who just launched his marijuana brand. And then you have Snoop Dogg and, you know, Redman. There's all of these actors and famous athletes and musicians and things of that nature. Everyone's here to network and gallivant, get their product out in front of dispensary owners and things of that nature. So after this shit show of 5 o'clock ends or whatever is when it's just fucking awesome. Like there's parties everywhere. I mean, everywhere. So everybody had a party that they wanted to go to, but we chose to hit up the Grasslands party, and they rented out like a MCM style house, like a mid-century modern style house with a pool. They had synchronized swimmers, Chris. I'm telling you, when I tell you Ricardo and that team, they missed no stone left unturned. They had an open bar, but then they also had a weed bar, but then they also had this thing where, like it's kind of like I guess it's like a New York Stock Exchange where the numbers would it kind of flicker flatter and then it would show you the new projected number. You would press that and it would dictate what you should do. Like you'd say you're a Libra or whatever, Virgo and whatever. And then it would pop up like a strain, and then somebody would pack up hand roll a joint and be like, this is your joint. Like, this is Kip's joint. Like, based off of just weird shit. It was a fucking party.
That's wild.
Dick to ass packed. The line, there's 2 bathrooms, and, the bathrooms were, I'm sure, being used for bathrooms, but, I mean, whatever. The lines weren't too terribly bad. The party vibe was awesome. Photo booths. It was a scene in there, dude. DJ popping off. It was a cool fucking time. And that was the reason I went down there. I was
Finger foods?
No. But the appetite wasn't really there.
I hear you.
Yeah, whatever.
Synchronized swimmers and joints rolled to your specification based on your sign or whatever.
Yeah, and booms as far as the eye could see. I mean, everybody was holding something. It was a fantastic party. But that's where it just starts. So, that ends at, midnight or whatever. And then, of course, Vegas is just fucking partying all the time. So there's 95 parties. There's, a Diplo who's a DJ throwing a party at one location. And then there's Tiesto or, there's just shit going all over the place. So you end up partying until 4 a.m. And then I woke up and had an interview Thursday morning.
Which you nailed.
I think I nailed it. We'll see. If they're listening to this, I would really like that job. I think I'd be a perfect fit for it. But if you're not listening to this, yeah, I'm on the market. Give me a shout.
Hashtag open for work.
Yeah. Hashtag I love y'all all. The industry vibe was legit though. And so I was, we asked a lot of folks for recommendations on food as if I was going to try to eat a lot while I was over there. But we were just too busy, you're goofing off, you see friends, you stop in, but we were able to hit up Vegas Chinatown. And so for those that are listening to us, I know most of y'all listen for insights into Denver's food scene or cannabis scene. We're going to do a quick recap on Vegas's scene. You go to Planet 13, it's like their dispensary, but it's also like a restaurant. It's like a consumption lounge, like bar, party area. It's a pretty fucking cool area. Shout out to Brendan over there. But Chinatown, Vegas. It's awesome, Chris. There's just food everywhere. There's restaurants that you don't even know what the fuck they are. But we were kind of looking around, and everyone that said go to Lotus of Siam, but they have 2 locations, and one of them was closed due to lack of staff. Mm-hmm. Classic. So they have one location open at 5:30. It was packed as fuck, so we just skipped it and just partied. And then before, I was like, I'm hungover as balls. I need food. I think I had Tacos El Gordo on the Strip, which was recommended to us. And then I also had a place called China Mama. And China Mama is fucking delicious. You'll be able to see pictures of that tomorrow morning. Or
Soup dumps,
fried bao buns, like the buns where they're kind of fluffy and you bite into them. They have this Chinese sausage in the middle. Mm-hmm. And then they had this thing called the Big Mouth. Chris, the Big Mouth. And what it is, it's like a noodle that's been fried, so half of it, like the inside of the wrap, it's think of it as a crepe made out of an Asian noodle, so it's fried and crispy a little bit on the outside, and the inside you have that noodle texture, and it's stuffed with fucking meats and sauces. And so me and Glauber went over there, teed off on lunch, just had a fucking delight. And that's why you want to have that dart in your pocket, because if you over order, like I did at brunch here in Denver yesterday, then you want to be able to reload, get your minds right, and you can just quietly pull that vape pen and exhale all at the table. You're not so much, but you can ghost it, and so I just teed off and I was like, get me the fuck out of this city.
You're done with Vegas.
Dude, I was so tired. I mean, 3 hours of sleep in 2 days is my guess.
Yeah.
From Tuesday to Friday morning.
You survived, though.
I survived. I think I did. I didn't put us in a bad spot. I didn't make us look bad. But next time we go, Chris, we're going with a pocket full of shit. Like, we're going back down there for MJBizCon, but maybe for other shit as well.
Catch a Vegas show.
Yeah, you know, I've always been a Wayne Newton guy. Missed all shows, but it's like in the middle of the week. And as we were leaving, EDM Fest was about to kick off, our EDC. And so the people watching at the airport between the morbidly obese